can you play a card game blindfolded? Even if everything was read out to you, you'd have to remember your hand, everything on your board, everything your opponents played. Would that even be possible? In this video, I'll be doing something that, as far as I know, nobody playing these card games has ever even attempted, and compete at the absolute highest level without being able to see anything at all, relying solely on sound cues to play the game. To do this, I'll be training for 10 total days, and at the end of this video, I'll be playing blindfolded against one of the best players in the world.
Brent Tonneson.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And I'll only have 2 chances to win 1 game.
But why am I doing this?
I've always thought that blindfolded chess has to be the coolest thing ever. Winning whilst removing the most important sense for a competitive game like chess or Pokemon is just so sick. And as a competitive Pokemon player and World Championship semi-finalist, I thought, yeah, I can probably do that.
So even if only to be used as a way to look cool to other Pokemon players in future, I'd love to prove that I can play Pokemon blindfolded.
But it's not going to be easy. Similarly to chess players, I'll have a ton of things to remember. My hand, my board, everything in my deck, and everything my opponents played. And as if it couldn't get harder, I'll be playing Gardevoir for this entire challenge. I'll be building big hand sizes with Kirlia's refinement ability, which means I'll have to remember cards many turns after I first draw them. Clearly, if I want to beat Brent, I'll need to practice, which I'll do by playing with my friend Max on a Pokemon TCG simulator. For the first few days, I decided to play against Charizard EX. It's by no means an easy matchup, but my strategy is straightforward. Use this Gardevoir with a bunch of energy to kill anything. At the end of this challenge, Brent will choose a random deck to play against me, which could be literally anything, so I'll have to make sure I'm prepared for any type of matchup. But to start, all I had to do was focus on my hand, which I quickly realized was not easy.
I know I have Ultra Ball, but I don't know. I literally can't name 2 cards in my hand.
Wait, you had Lumineon in play?
Oh, dude, I don't even know, man. Yeah, I can see it. Oh, I play so bad. This is so hard. This is actually way harder than I thought it would be.
And with that, I lost all 3 games on the first day, which was pretty disappointing considering I didn't even feel like I was getting unlucky.
If I was actually playing properly, I'd win all these games.
It was a pretty sad day, and since I was making so many mistakes, I didn't really even get a chance to play the game. Dealing with the overload of information was incredibly difficult, so for the next day I thought I'd try to focus on few important things as much as possible. My hand, my deck, and my board. Trying not to care about anything Max is saying. This strategy was a little more effective. While Max didn't draw anything in the first game we played, giving me the win.
Yep, Mew. Fail. I will concede the game. We'll go to another game.
It didn't feel like a success. I wanted a real win. But what happened in the next game changed everything. Pokemon games are super simple. These are prize cards, as indicated here. You start with 6 and they are literally all that matter. Whenever you knock out a Pokemon, you take some. If you take all 6, you win. In this game, for the first time in this challenge, I managed to even up the prize card count early enough that I was in a winning position. But my only Gardevoir EX got knocked out, and I had no Rot in play to get out another one. I could still attack with my already set up Gardevoir, but I would need to remember this massive hand to get an attack on the next turn. I get another knockout with Gardevoir, and have all the pieces to win the next turn. But I can't remember all of it.
Well, I don't have Super Rod or Zacian in here, or a way to search Zacian, so I think you'll probably be okay.
All I need is a Boss, Gardevoir EX, Rare Candy, and Zacian, which conveniently for me are all in my hand, but I can't remember. Fortunately, I draw my second Zacian V, which is the last piece I needed to recall all 4 cards and win the game.
Well, Candy Zacian, Boss.
You want a game?
I want a game, let's go.
Unlike the previous day, I managed to remember most of the cards in my hand. But even though I won, realistically, I wasn't playing very well. Still making massive mistakes.
Kirlia just got VIP.
You have no VIP person.
That is crazy. But I'm trolling, I didn't even press a Rot this game. What am I doing?
Yeah, I was not even close to the level I would need to beat Brent at the end of this challenge. But at least winning a few games showed that I could win.
I think this was improvement from yesterday though.
It's significant improvement.
The big hands that are really hard, but I'll get used to it.
For the next 2 days, I continued to play against the Charizard EX matchup to see if I could see some improvement from the first day. But the massive disadvantage I had was showing, as forgetting to play cards here and there was massively lowering my winning chances. Like this one where I forgot to play a worker in my hand,
Proactive.
Sure.
and many others.
I don't know.
You did not have an Iono in hand.
Okay, yeah, what's that? Play, discard, VIP.
You don't have a VIP person in hand.
Fuck Cowboys. I mean, I wasn't. This game was pretty bad anyways.
But I was remembering my hand and the board more often. But remembering my board and opponent's board was still a big challenge, so across the 2 days, the only game I managed to win was when Max completely drew dead. I really wanted to see if I had improved, so for day 5, I decided to play against a much better matchup, Miraidon, which at the time had about a 40% chance of beating Gardevoir usually. If I could win a few games, I could prove to myself I would at least have a chance at beating Brent at the end of this challenge. And these games went even better than I expected.
Boss flying Pikachu.
Yeah, GG's.
I'm through and double touch active, retreat, put 6, attach energy from hand, kill.
Yeah, that's game.
That was actually pretty good. That actually was pretty good, I think,
I mean,
in total.
You won the set.
I think that was the best game. That might have been the best game I played so far, I think. Like, I actually remembered a lot of stuff.
You really didn't fuck up at all, pretty much.
With 2 out of 3 games won, I was feeling pretty good. So I wanted to start practicing the matchups that I thought would be really hard. Lost Zone, the Gardevoir matchup, and Chien-Pao. These matchups go much longer than any other matchup and have very complex strategies. So on day 6, I played the Lost Zone matchup. And to start, it didn't go very well.
I'm pretty sure it's Rod. Ultra Ball, Rod, Energy.
It is not Rod.
It's not fucking Rod. Oh my god. Am I trolling? I don't have Kai in it, right?
You do.
I do? Okay, well, fair fuck. Right, well, turns into.
Interesting.
What a great top deck, right? Okay.
Your hand right now looks really interesting.
But after that loss, things changed a bit.
You conceding?
Yeah.
Oh, Kai, discard bit.
Rod Energy. Oh my god, it's just spirals. It just spirals. Rod Energy.
Greninja discard energy.
Energy Iono. Oh my fucking.
You're conceding? Can I take my blindfold off?
Yes, you can take your blindfold off. You want a set.
Want a set.
I won the last 2 games on this day. I realized that even though the game went long, I could use context clues to work out their board, and Iono to refresh hands and solve any forgotten cards. I also started using a new strategy to remember my hand, imagining the order I could play the cards in as I draw them so I could remember the story later. As I had just had 2 days in a row with positive records, I had new confidence to try my most difficult matchup, Chien-Pao. Usually this matchup was about a coin flip on who won, but there's a few reasons why in blindfolded it's near impossible. On paper, Chien-Pao should always beat me, as it takes prizes far quicker than Gardevoir. But my strategy is usually to strain their resources, like running them out of energy or draw support. But the best strategy changes every single game, depending on what resources are discarded and what's on their board. While blindfolded, I'll need to remember everything on their board and in their discard to have any chance of winning, which will make my context clues useless as I'll need to remember specific details. If I wanted to make sure I can beat Brent, I'll need to at least have a decent shot at winning this matchup. And for 2 days I tried my best to get some wins, but I was making massive mistakes. Again,
Elliot, discard. I just got Ninja discard energy.
You don't have an energy in it.
and again,
There's no boss.
You don't have a boss.
and again.
Oh, discard Vip. I just don't remember this hand,
You,
dude.
you don't have a hand.
What's my hand? I can't. I don't know, dude.
You're done.
And honestly, I'm not even showing you all of them. It was pretty bad, and I was getting defeated. Even the game I won, I wasn't happy with.
You concede.
Yeah.
And I didn't do anything there.
Out of the 2 days, I lost 5 and only won 1. So for the next 2 days, I played the Gardevoir matchup, which while similar, is a lot easier overall. But I was so blinded, literally, by the fact that I lost so many games in a row. Not only was I not noticing how close I was getting to winning many games, I couldn't appreciate how far I had come from the first day. I was remembering so much more than then, but the matchups I was playing were much harder. And out of 6 games, I only won 2. Fortunately for me, there were a few weeks before I'd play against Brett, so I had an opportunity to regain my confidence. We planned to play against each other after our final regional championships of the format. Brent didn't want to lose because he would lose his dignity if he lost to me who couldn't even see, but I didn't want to lose because losing both games with 2 chances was a little bit absurd and would render my entire almost 2 weeks of work entirely useless. It came to the day and Brent was deciding what deck to play. He had just played Gardevoir in the event that day, which I was really hoping he wouldn't play. But conveniently for me, after the event, we ended up hanging out with another top player, Christian Marino, who had just got top 4 out of 1800 with Lugia V-Star, and he wanted to try and play alongside Brent in the challenge. Brent thought he would play Lugia V-Star as it has a pretty good matchup against Gardevoir with dark Pokemon like Yveltal and Tyranitar, which can knock out my Gardevoir EX. And just hours earlier, I lost 2 games in a row to the exact same deck while I could see. Plus, he would be able to use the advice of Christian to advise his plays. I got Jake to play as my guider on the right side while Brent will play on the left. I was now having to play a 2 against 1 without being able to see anything. It was game on. In the first game, I opened one of the worst starters in my deck, Mew EX, which gives up 2 prizes and doesn't have much health. But I didn't really mind because I had a pretty good opening hand with ways to get my roll to my best turn 2 play. Until on the first search, I had my prizes read out.
Our prize cards are 1 Curlia with Refinement, 2 Boss's Orders, Zacian V, Iono and Celebrations Mew.
I'd prized both my boss's orders, which are necessary in this matchup, and 2 of my best Pokemon. From the start, it wasn't looking good. He used Professor Burnett to get his Archeops in the discard, which he'll need later, and also got down a Lugia V. While in my turn, I got to use Mirage Step to search my deck for a Curlier, leaving me with 3 total Curlier. Now he evolves to Lugia V-Star and uses its Summoning Star to get 2 Archeops into play, and then uses Archeops' ability so he can power up Stonjourner.
And then Giga Hammer.
Since I don't have any boss's orders because they're here, I have to carry the Stonjourner, and it only gives me 1 prize. But fortunately for me, I wasn't forgetting much, only small things like this Psychic Energy that didn't really matter in the game. But there was someone who was forgetting things.
We didn't use that refinement yet.
Wait, I did, right?
No, you didn't. You did Arcanas.
Wait, didn't that happen? Didn't I draw 2 energy off that?
No, you
No, you
drew.
drew off the, no.
Oh, wait, yeah, okay.
Okay, never mind.
Dude, I can't see the fucking game and I know what's going on.
No, that's because you didn't tilt it, bro.
I use Gardevoir EX to set up my energies and take a knockout on his Stonjourner. Straight away we have 5-5 in prize cards. Dead even. But I have one massive problem. I only have 1 baby Gardevoir in play, which is my only real attacker, and no Curlier. What's even worse for me is Brent has brain cells and knows this too. He uses Archeops' ability, putting special energy to 2 different Tyrannitars. These are massive threats, and he uses boss's orders to knock out my baby Gardevoir. And now with no Pokemon to draw any cards and a completely useless hand comprised of the worst cards possible, honestly, I was screwed. From this point, all my winning chances are really a Hail Mary. I try to use Mew EX Genome hacking with the boss I got off prizes to knock out one of his Tyranitar. And in my mind, I forgot his other Tyranitar even existed. In my head, I thought I had some chance later on if he couldn't get another Tyranitar. But really, I had nothing. He has the easiest KO possible on my Mew EX. And from there, it's all but over. I flail around doing nothing for a turn, and he gets his final turn.
Oh, great.
He offers Lugia and single straight crush for you.
You already had the energy on it?
Yeah, I had everything.
I lost, but it was impossible not to think I had a really good chance here. On turn 3 of the game, I was in position to win. If I had just not prized that Curlier, or had more Rot early on, or had boss earlier, I know I probably would have won. I didn't strike a single time in the entire game and was playing nearly on his level. While taking the loss here sucked as I only had 1 more chance, it was possibly the best loss I could have taken, and I really thought I could do it in this final deciding game. I open a really good hand with Level Ball and Fog Crystal to get 3 total rolls, with an Iono in hand, which is great next turn. He gets down Lugia V, which fulfills part of his setup, but plays Iono, making my hand much worse than before. With no draw supporter or Mirage Step, I'm forced to go into Baby Mew, off which all I find is Ultra Ball, which is one of the hardest cards for me to use. But I flawlessly remember the 2 absolute worst cards in my hand, negating some of the downside and allowing me to get Curlier to start drawing cards with its Refinement. But off Refinement, I don't find anything else, and pass with only 1 Curlier in play. He uses his second Luminion's Luminous Sign to get Professor Burnett to put Archeops in the discard, but he doesn't have Lugia V-Star, so he can't attack. I get a completely free turn.
This is definitely tough. I think I just have to sack the fish.
But in that free turn, I don't really do much. I have a ton of niche situational cards, which at this point I've already forgotten. So when I draw Rare Candy, I don't remember I already had a Shining Arcana Gardevoir in my hand. So I pass back without having improved my board at all. Brent gets his Archeops into play and establishes a board, but he makes one key mistake. He puts Stonjourner onto the bench for essentially no reason, meaning he has no board space at all for Yveltal or Tyranitar V, which can knock out my Gardevoir EX.
Even that's wrong. If you're not taking, just don't put Yveltal in play. What the fuck?
You told me to take that.
No, I
He took
didn't.
Stonge, bro. He took Stonge.
He took Staunch.
You literally told me to take Stonge.
Dude, I say some things, but I don't really mean it.
He takes his first prize with Lugia V-Star's Tempest Dive, but at this point it's clear to both of us. I'm winning. I find the rest of my Refinement Curliers and the Gardevoir EX getting a pretty well set up board, and use Gardevoir EX's Miracle Force to deal damage to his Lugia. Without Luminion to search support as he doesn't find boss's orders, so he can't take a prize on any of my small Pokemon. So all he can do is
Tempest Dive.
Alright, so just Tempest Dive for 200.
At this point I'm getting pretty nervous, as this position can't really get much better for me. So in an attempt to play as safe as possible, I take the knockout on his Lugia V-Star with Gardevoir EX. Realistically a pretty bad play, as I'll need to find another Gardevoir EX on the next turn. Had I attacked with the Cresselia, I would have been in a much better spot, but regardless, I kill the Lugia and take the initial lead. He doesn't achieve much except knocking out my active, leaving me with a huge hand. Without Luminion, he can't search Iono to make my hand size smaller, so I really shouldn't have any risk of losing here. Unless, of course, I forget my entire hand, which is basically what happened. All I can remember are few important cards like Iono. And even with Ultra Ball in hand, I don't remember any cards to discard with them. I can't play boss this turn, but I come up with a new plan. Not playing down any Gardevoir EX and only attacking with baby Gardevoirs with reversal energy. A plan that will win as long as I play well and draw well. I play Iono to get a new hand, which I'll actually know the cards of, and then attack with Brainwave, putting us at 3-3 in prizes. He makes his best play possible and attacks with his Tyranitar, forcing me to hit boss's orders for the next 2 turns in a row to win, and I now have a massive issue. Because I forgot so many of the cards in my previous hand, my board kind of sucks. I might not be able to draw everything to win in 2 turns. I can't play down Gardevoir EX because if I do, he can just boss it up and win. So while I can attack with Brainwave this turn with one of the boss's orders in my hand, I'll need to play boss and Gardevoir EX to win next turn, both of which are already in my hand. If he finds Iono, these cards will go to the bottom of the deck and I'll almost certainly lose. But if he doesn't, I already have the win. I knock out his Yveltal to avoid gift energy, but he still has a chance to draw Iono. I'm waiting and hoping that he ends his turn. He uses Archeops to get more energy on the board, and I hear the words that end the game.
Mess. Strike Rush.
He just attacks. No Iono. I'd done it.
Well. Evolve to EX, boss the minion.
Yeah. Boss the minion.
Attach 3 to active, win the game.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Fuck, I actually won that. Holy fuck.
I had won the game. It's in the moments like this, achievement after so many mistakes and setbacks, that all the hours I spent grinding with Max paid off. And on top of that, to hear from someone who watched the entire game,
I think overall, you played very well.
To me, it's all a reminder
That anything is possible. Thanks for watching.